Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Patty Giarusso, and this is Let's Talk Pets on Society Bites Radio. Today, we welcome back to the show Kathy Pobloskie from Lost Dogs of America. And today, we want to talk about generational differences when finding lost pets. And different age groups approach finding lost pets in different ways. And younger adults may just post on social media, where older adults may have trouble using social media and just might want to do flyers or print ads or something like that. So today, Kathy is going to talk with us about different ways that each group can use different methods to help them find their lost pets. And Kathy, if you're not familiar with her, is the co-founder of Lost Dogs of America and the director and founder of Lost Dogs of Wisconsin. And she joins us each month to discuss lost pet recovery methods and the importance of doing everything you can to keep your pets safe. So welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thanks, Patty. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Um,
so let's talk about this. This is an interesting topic and one well worth discussing for sure.
yeah, and I'm really curious to hear some of your suggestions because
Oh
I know
boy.
that you live in an area. Yeah, I know that you live in an area with a lot of retired people, right?
Yeah.
So we're always looking for better ways, and when we train our volunteers, we try to make them aware that there is differences, and we don't like to overgeneralize, right? And say, well, all people over the age of 60 don't are going to be like this, but we just notice trends, and
Hmm.
we try to always be aware of tips that may be helpful for either for whether they're trying to find their dog or whether they're trying to reach that age group, for sightings.
Right.
So I think that the biggest one is the one that you mentioned at the beginning, which is that we often find that older adults, whether they've lost their pet and they're trying to file a report with us, or they have found a pet, or they have a sighting, sometimes they can struggle with filing the report. Do you have that problem too?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we try to just be really patient and helpful, or sometimes we'll ask if they have somebody that can help them. But just some of the things that, you know, some people take for granted, like uploading a photo to a forum, um, is can be very stressful for them because they can't, you know, they don't know how to do that, and their dog is missing, and they're trying to figure this out, and so making it as easy as possible, I think, is really the key, because it is, things that we do now all the time. You think about doing that 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been so easy for us.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
run into that too, where somebody is even having trouble if they can't upload a picture, even texting it to me sometimes. So I just
right.
suggest, do you have a friend nearby or a neighbor or somebody you could ask to help you? Because I
Yeah.
don't know what
Hmm.
else to say, to them.
Right.
But it is a situation we do run into. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. Well, and we have a lot of people that still either don't text, because they still maybe they still have a landline, or they
Mm-hmm.
just maybe have a phone that's not capable of texting, or they just never
Right.
texted. So
Right.
so they really don't even understand. I mean, I won't talk too loud here because my husband's in the basement, but he barely texts,
Yeah.
and really has only kind of caught on to it in like the last maybe 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so sometimes with those people too, they may have mastered email. So if they, will say, well, if you don't know how to text the photo to us, send it via email, and then we'll attach it for you,
Mm.
because email is something that they are comfortable with.
Right.
So, um, but then even navigating Facebook it can be very challenging if they're not on Facebook. So, just lots of patience. But the good news is that, they're often much more willing to go out and do what other younger people might consider the hard work of the actual distributing flyers, and
Mm.
that really is, a real key way of getting dogs home. So, I mean, we've had people, before that never ever did figure out the form and the flyer, but were so desperate to find their dog that they hand wrote on pieces of paper and
Mm-hmm.
went door to door, with just the description of the dog and the phone number, and have found their dog that way. Bless their
Yeah.
hearts.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Well,
um,
we do ask, if somebody is having a problem, with any of it, we try to get people within their area that we could, get to help them either get the picture to us or help them fill out the form. And if they can't, we'll do that for them. We try to do as much as we can to help them because that's what we do. And
right.
even making flyers and sending them into the local office store for them to pick up, and pay
Yeah.
for them and do any of that, we're willing to do that for them because it is challenging. And a lot of them don't even have computers or printers or something like that to do it.
Right.
But it's good for them to know if they are hearing or any of their loved ones are hearing this, that there is help for them
Yeah.
regardless of, you know, um, if they aren't able to do it, they don't have to be online on our Facebook group in order or your page in order to get that help.
To get the help. Yeah. And I just love that you do that. That where you send them to the local copy shop. That is just so
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. That's
My
great.
worry about that is with all these stores closing that, if that store closes, then I don't know what we'll do. So I'm
Uh,
hoping that that doesn't happen, you know.
yeah. Uh huh. Yep.
That's my
You mean
worry.
because of the pandemic is
Mhm.
is causing problems?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a
Hmm.
lot of the stores
Yeah.
are closing down, and
Okay.
but maybe with people working more from their homes, that's a good thing for any of our office stores, I guess.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
Oh.
Um, and then like we always try to reaching older adults. If your dog is missing, is you have to think a little bit, outside the box too. Is that you think about and because a lot of dogs do end up hanging around quiet homes. So, and often that will be a home with older adults, right? That may be feeding the birds and maybe feeding some stray cats. And that is just, and it's just a quiet place with, nobody's going to bother them and the dog starts to hang around there. So, how do you reach those older adults if your dog is missing and and you want to make sure that you're getting all the sightings that you can? And so, again, you know, they maybe have been feeding your dog for months and never saw your dog on Facebook because they're not on Facebook.
Right.
So where would they look? And so then you have to think about, well, how could I reach those people? Well, hand delivering flyers is again number one, but where else? So we always suggest putting an ad in the local newspaper, um, which may we have younger people that would never ever even think of that because they've never, they don't read the newspaper. They didn't even realize that anybody still does read the newspaper, and um, but older people do tend to want to read a print newspaper, or the weekly shoppers that are often delivered free in a community, especially in rural communities. They often will have like a weekly kind of little, classified ad shopper sort of print thing that's put in the newspaper boxes. Radio ads work good, and or church uh, bulletins asking to put your missing dog listing in a church bulletin, or even just a flyer on the church bulletin board is a good way to target older adults. Um, I would say definitely don't expect them to text a sighting to you. They will probably try to call you. And if you have not changed your voicemail to say that identify yourself as the owner of a missing dog, they may not leave a voice message. They may feel, that they might think they'll just hang up and they may never call back. Or they may think, well, I'll call back later and then, forget or time passes by and they don't.
Right.
So I see a lot of, I love these QR codes, the little, what do you call it, the little thing that, a little image, and those are appearing on lots of flyers now. We put them on our flyers. But, like I'll see some things that'll say, well, take a picture of the QR code with your phone and then you'll have the dog's information wherever in your phone. But again, that's sort of a generational thing. It's not something that everybody knows how to do.
Right.
So Like my husband wouldn't know how to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Poor
Well,
guy.
I pretty much kind of don't know how to do it, but I kind of do. I think I put the app on my phone, taken it off my phone, put it back on my phone.
Yeah, I know. I think
Mm.
the newer phones just, if you just take a picture of the QR code, you don't even have to have the app anymore.
Oh,
It
okay.
will
See,
work.
I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I think.
For Pete's sake. I know, I'll have to try it.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Um, and then like when you're flyering, and you come across a house with older adults in it, um, you know, they often like to chat, and if you're friendly, and they'll often give you lots of information.
Mm.
So, and often they're home all day and they know, kind of what's coming and going in the neighborhood. So
Mm.
they might know who's feeding cats in the neighborhood, and again, that's number one. Um, one of the number one places that lost dogs will start to hang around is somewhere that there's outdoor cats being fed. They'll know things like who might have gotten a new dog in the neighborhood. Maybe your dog's been picked up and kept by somebody,
Mm.
and they might you might hand them the flyer, and they might say, "Oh yeah, so and so down the street there just got a dog who looks just like that,"
Mm-hmm.
and can give you some information. So, really that really helpful, um, for when you're looking for your dog.
So you're basically saying, so when you're out flying, ask whoever you talk to who is the neighborhood busybody.
Yes, exactly. That was it. Yes. That's what I was
Yeah, it
trying to
makes
say.
sense though. I mean, for goodness
Yeah.
sakes, it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Because they're often a good source of the info.
Mhm.
Um, and any other, like, I mean, oh, the other thing, I was like, I had one lady one time call in a sighting. She said that she just doesn't sleep through the night anymore, and she would like look out the window when she went down to get a glass of water to a kitchen, and had actually been seeing the dog in the middle of the night,
Mm.
out her window, and then finally called us with a sighting, and it was a dog that we were looking for in that community.
Mm.
So really helpful.
Yeah.
Um, so that's, I mean, I guess that any I that's just kind of like a list that I'd come up with, things that we try to think about, um, with older adults, and then of course we have our younger adults, which is a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, one thing I think I could add to the older adults thing is because, well, we haven't gotten probably close to a year now because of the COVID thing, but we used to go over to our local Elks Club, and that is predominantly an older adult situation, I guess, there. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's a good place. If you belong to any kind of club like that, where, more of the population is older adults, that would be a good place to think about. They do sometimes newsletters through them, or you can post on their bulletin board as well to try to get people in your community that might see it. It's
Right.
hard to come up with different ideas other than, one time we were trying to help find a owner of a lost or a found dog, and there was a mobile home park, and we went into their clubhouse and put up a flyer on their clubhouse. If you can get into a
Mm-hmm.
clubhouse near where they're, where you live, maybe the adjoining one, and go and put something up on their clubhouse, something where the public goes, where they may see it, maybe around their mailboxes if they let you do that, or something. There's different ways that you can hit a big population in a smaller area, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great idea, and I love that one. Like this, because in our area there is a lot of service clubs. I mean, just a lot. Like not only the Elks, but like there's the Rotary and
Hmm.